Hi, my lovelies, Woo again, and here today to talk to you a little bit more about fear. Yesterday we talked a little bit more about things that we hold on to and are repeating that aren't really ours. They're patterns from our ancestors that haven't really resolved yet, and that's why we keep repeating them. And you might also notice patterns within your own life, like every time, every 10 years something happens, or every 6 years something happens, and they all seem to correlate a little bit that way and just kind of repeating patterns. But with fear and like paralyzed will, which is kind of in the same category, so the want to but can't, and kind of where you hold this and store it in your body, and then we'll do some intuitive movement. So our kidneys hold things like fear and impending doom and feeling like this dread is upon us kind of thing. And our bladder holds things along the lines of you want to do something but you can't, and things that like are a little more unsure. And so when we talk about these things, you should kind of notice that you shift in your body a little bit. Like, so as I keep talking about different emotions, you might notice that one side feels a little bit more active than the other. Again, to kind of recap some of the things that we've gone over. So start with fascia. Fascia, again, is the stuff that covers our entire body from our head to our toes. It gets a little sticky, a little locked together, kind of like Velcro, so it can kind of be like this, and you need to unlock it and let it go. It also, when you pull it apart in a microscope, will kind of stretch and have these little strings, kind of like cotton candy, and fascia covers everything. So like I said, head to toe, and plus like covers all your organs, covers all your muscles, each individual muscle cell, and it also covers like all of your bones, organs, and everything that's kind of like inside, and it kind of is the stuff that kind of keeps you in the shape that you're in. And so when we address the fascia, we kind of address like the whole body and the whole thing. So if we're talking about what is going to help release specific pieces of the fascia, we need to talk about where it is in the body, what is it doing, why is it doing this, and is there something that we can change to change the flexibility of this fascia? Is it possibly our diet? Maybe there's something in our diet that our body doesn't like, and that's why the fascia is more rigid than it is with somebody else. Is it because we're holding on to all these emotions and our body's saying like, no, this is it. Like, you're going to be stuck here in this position until you figure it out and we change things, and then I'll let it go, and then we can be happy together kind of thing. So your body's constantly trying to tell you something. And so that's why intuitive movement is really great, because you can address these things because everybody's individual, so it's going to be very individual for you. Yes, we all hold similar patterns if we hold the similar things, but trying to do the same thing that somebody else is doing isn't necessarily the exact right thing for you. So kind of learning that and learning what is best for you is what's going to help you the most. So today, let's just fill in a little bit to fear, and where, to kind of give you an example, I'm going to fill into fear into my own body, kind of where I'm holding that. And a lot of that immediately makes me want to do this. It makes me want to protect my heart, my lungs, kind of retract into myself. And fear is kind of that. When you're trying to show that emotion, that's what your body does. You're scared of something, you hold, you react, you hold, you retract back into yourself. And so if you're thinking a little bit more about fear and these muscles that are making you do this, it's kind of this, like, I need to protect myself, kind of put up my guard. And so feeling kind of how your body shifts that way. So the opposite, I guess, of, being really guarded would be really open. So you might play with that a little bit. Like, if sometimes you do need to like really dig into something, like hold it even tighter so that you can release it. Sometimes you need to feel into, well, what does it feel like if I start to open myself up a little bit more? And am I less fearful if my shoulders are back? Am I less fearful if my arms are out at my side? Am I kind of, what is your body actually trying to say? So if I'm feeling into fear and I'm noticing, again with my right shoulder, that if I'm trying to release it, maybe I need to relax the shoulder back a little bit more and get the muscles that are in the back of my like shoulder blade and, you know, around the spine, getting those to really start to engage and react, and kind of feeling out, what does that mean? So with me, my, you know, right shoulder is a lot about the things that are more career-based, more professionalism, more things like that. So what am I having trouble career-wise? What am I scared of? What am I afraid of right now? What are the things that are burdening me? Shoulders hold burden. And so with everything that's going on in the world right now, things are very unsettled, very unsure. I'm a massage therapist, and so having all this stuff right now, and noticing as I'm talking about this, my body's starting to shift a little bit more, and I'm feeling like this shoulder wants to continue to go back, and I'm noticing that there's some correlation between this hip and the shoulder. So just kind of feeling that out and kind of thinking through all of the things that like are maybe not quite as easy as they have been in the past. Obviously, with 6 feet of social distancing, doing massage therapy isn't exactly what I can be doing right now. And again, feeling into the shoulder and what it wants to do, and I'm noticing all these muscles right back here are really starting to engage. And so I'm just feeling into that and allowing my arm to kind of do what it needs to do. And again, still thinking about fear and how you know, things have changed, and going through a little bit of transition at the moment, and using, for me, it's kind of figuring out, you know, I've got other degrees and other things that I can do, and what can I do for work at the moment, and you know, maybe it's something that I'm not as passionate about, but maybe it's something that is okay for me to explore at the moment. And just kind of noticing like how my adjustment and my posture right now makes me feel a lot more safe, a lot more secure. And it's kind of thinking also about the things that you can rely on. So like your back is something that you should be able to rely on. And if you don't feel like you can rely on yourself, rely on your back, that also will change your position into being able to do things. It might make you feel a little bit more fearful because you're not sure where the next thing's going to come from. Again, so like if we go back to like feeling into fear, so if I'm thinking about where I'm feeling fear in my body, and again, I kind of want to protect something right through here. This is again in the back, this would be where my kidneys are, and so maybe I'm kind of trying to protect myself from the things that I can see, from the things that I can't. And so now I'm just kind of feeling into this area of my body and trying to see where I need to move, what feels good. Do I need to constrict something? Do I need to relax something? And putting my hand here is also telling my body like, hey, I want to work on this right here. Like my body just told me that there's something here, and so now if I put my hand here, then I can also work through like, oh, yeah, like if I push there, maybe I can get something else to happen. If I can push over here, maybe I can get something else to happen, to release. And now, like when I'm thinking again, I got fear again, and I'm just kind of feeling into where in my body am I feeling fear? Where do I feel those muscles kind of clamp up? And now it's kind of more into my my left side, into like my bicep and my forearm. So now I'm just kind of feeling around, where am I feeling the stretch the most? How I'm moving my hand that gets to, and now I'm starting to actually like This is more of a clench than a stretch at the moment, and that feels like it's being really productive in my body. And so I'm just noticing as I start to open my hand, my forearm is still very engaged, but my hand is starting to relax a little bit, and my thumb's starting to relax, the forearm's starting to relax a little bit, and it's just kind of coming back out here and unwinding a little bit. And I'm noticing how that now made my whole arm feel a little bit lighter. Hands hold things like you're doing things that along those lines of like working and doing, and it's also part of like protection, get your guard up, that kind of thing. And so as I'm just kind of feeling out like what my hands are like doing and what they need to explore, and kind of how that kind of, again, like my arm just really feels like it needs to stretch out a little bit, in this weird awkward position, as I'm talking about this, and then noticing how my whole body wants to shift with it, and I'm feeling like there's something, like it's felt like a whole big stretch right through here, and just kind of noticing how that changes as, and like my arms feel much different, whereas like this arm felt very tight earlier, now it feels very light. And this arm actually is feeling the one that's feeling a little bit more stress at the moment, a little bit more tension. So again, like we clam up sometimes, and we put our guard up when we think about fear. So again, I'm just kind of thinking about fear and how I can help release this from my body. And I'm noticing like my hands again wants to do something. And this is, again, we're working on the stuff that that I am fearful at the moment, that has to do with like professionalism and my job and things like that. And also it's about like doing and making and things along those lines. It's a little bit more on the masculine side on this side. And I'm just noticing as I'm allowing my hand to kind of move in different directions, different muscles are starting to tighten up and others are starting to loosen. So it's constant back and forth between the stretch and this really contracting a muscle and letting it stretch and expand. So like it's about finding the right line, the right way to like unlock the muscle and then let it go. And which is kind of like all what this is about. So again, if we're working on something like fear again, and what we're kind of wanting to do with all of this this shift in this world right now, and how we're going to take it and change it to something different and move forward in a different way, listening to our body on how we're going to be able to do that and what our body's actually saying to us. And I've also noticed, like, as I've been talking, my right foot is also very engaged. So that's something that maybe we can get into with the next video. But I just wanted to share a little bit more about fear and paralyzed will, the want to but can't, and kind of introduce you to that emotion and where you might be storing that in your body. And then hopefully you found what I've said to be informative and useful, and to be able to move your body in a way that you can unlock and release some of this fear and stuff that's out there at the moment. So I will see you next time. This is Somato Enlightenment, and we're doing somatic navigation. You can check me out on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram with Somato Enlightenment. Thanks. Have a great day.